Part 1. Introduction. What is an essay? An essay is a relatively short piece of writing on a particular topic. Why bother writing an essay? The primary reason to write an essay is so that the writer can formulate and organize an informed, coherent, and sophisticated set of ideas about something important. What kind of technology you should use? You should provide yourself with the right technology. You need two screens so that you can present your reference material on one screen and your essay, or even two versions of your essay, side by side on the other. A good keyboard and a good mouse will help too. People's brain function better in the morning. Get up, eat something, prepare to spend between 90 minutes to 3 hours writing. However, even 15 minutes can be useful, particularly if you do it every day. Do not wait for a big chunk of free time to start. You will never get a big chunk of free time ever in your life. So don't make your success depend on their non-existent. The most effective writers write every day, at least a bit. Realize that when you first sit down to write, your mind will rebel. It is full of other ideas, all of which will fight to dominate. If you refuse to be tempted for 15 minutes, 25 on a really bad day, you will find that the clamour in your mind will settle down and you will be able to concentrate on writing. If you do this day after day, you will find that the power of such temptations do not reduce, but the duration of their attempts to distract you will decrease. You will also find that even on a day where concentration is very difficult, you will still be able to do some productive writing if you stick it out. Don't kid yourself into thinking you will write for 6 hours either. 3 is a maximum, especially if you want to sustain it day after day. 3 productive hours are way better than 10 hours of self-deceptive non-productivity, even in the library. Part 2. Levels of resolution. Words, sentences, paragraphs, logical progression, order. An essay, like any piece of writing, exists at the multiple levels of resolution simultaneously. First is the selection of the words. Second is the crafting of the sentences. Each sentence should be properly arranged and sequenced inside a paragraph. The third level of resolution. As a rule of thumb, a paragraph should be made up of at least 10 sentences or 100 words. This might be regarded as a stupid rule because it's arbitrary. However, you should let it guide you until you know better. You have very little right to break the rules until you have mastered them. Rules are there for a reason. You are only allowed to break them if you are a master. So rules are conventions, and like all conventions, sometimes are suboptimal, but not very often. So, to begin with, stick with the convention. A paragraph should present a single idea, using multiple sentences. If you can think up 100 words to say about your idea, it's probably not a very good idea, or you need to think more about it. If your paragraph is rambling on for 300 words or more, it's possible there has more than one idea in it, and it should be broken up. All of the paragraphs have to be arranged in a logical progression from the beginning of the essay to the end. This is the fourth level of resolution. Perhaps the most important step in writing an essay is getting the paragraphs in proper order. Each of them is a stepping stone to your essay's final destination. The fifth level of resolution is the essay as a whole. Every element of an essay can be correct. Each word, sentence, and paragraph, even the paragraph order, and the essay can still fail because it's not interesting or important. It is very hard for the competent but uninspired writers to understand this kind of failure, because a critic cannot merely point it out. There is no answer to their question. Exactly where did I make a mistake? Such an essay is just not good. An essay without originality or creativity might fall into this category. For the essay to succeed brilliantly, it has to work at all of these levels of resolution simultaneously. Part 3. The topic and the reading list. The central question that you are trying to answer with the essay is the topic question. Here are some potentially interesting topic questions. If you can write 10 of these, then you have to do some more reading, which you will likely have to do to complete the essay anyway. There is, by the way, no such thing as reader's block. If you can't write, it is because you have nothing to say. You have no ideas. In such a situation, don't write yourself on your writer's block. Read something. If that doesn't work, read something else, maybe something better. Repeat until the problem is solved. When you are taking notes, don't bother doing some stupid things like highlighting or underlining sentences in the textbook. There is no evidence that it works. It just looks like work. What you need to do is to read for understanding. Read a bit, then write down what you have learned or any questions that have arisen in your mind, and don't ever copy the source word for word. The most important part of learning and remembering is the recreation of what you have written in your own language. Part 4. The outline. At this point you have prepared a list of topics and a reading list. Now it's time to choose a topic. Here is another rule. When you write your first draft, it should be longer than the final version. This is so that you have some extra writing to throw away. Aim at producing a first draft that is 25% longer than the final draft is supposed to be. The outline of an essay is like the skeleton of a body. It provides its fundamental form and structure. Furthermore, the outline is basically the argument, with the sentence themselves and the words serving that argument. A 1,000-word essay requires a 10-sentence outline. However, the fundamental outline of an essay should not get much longer than 15 sentences, even if the essay is several thousand words or more in length. Here is an example of a good and simple outline. Now, write 10 to 15 sentences per outline heading to complete your paragraph. Don't worry too much about how well you are writing at this point. It is also best at this point not to worry too much about the niceties of sentence structure and grammar. That is all best left for the second major step, which is editing. The second major step is editing, as we said, production the first, editing the second. Those are not to be mixed. They are different, they got different functions and should be treated that way. This is because each interferes with the other. Part 6. Editing and arranging of sentences within paragraphs. Place each sentence on its own line, so it looks something like this. Then write another version of each sentence under the main sentence, the original one. The way you should write the next sentence is better, and by better I mean there has to be shorter or simpler, or that each word is precisely and exactly the right word. Don't be tempted to use any word that you will be uncomfortable to use in a spoken conversation. Part 7. Reordering the paragraphs. Now look at the order of the paragraphs themselves, as you just did with the sentences within each paragraph. It may well be that by now in the editing process you will find that the order of the subtopics within your original outline is no longer precisely appropriate, and that some reordering of those subtopics is called for. So move around the new improved paragraph until they are ordered more appropriately than they were. Part 8. Generating a new outline. You have just finished reading your essay. Try now to write a new outline of 10 to 15 sentences. Don't look back at your essay while you are doing this. You may find that you don't need everything you wrote before. Don't be afraid to throw unnecessary material away. You are trying to get rid of what is substandard and leave only what is necessary. Part 9. Repeat. Now you have a third draft, and it's probably pretty good. If you really want to take it to the next level, then you can repeat the process of sentence rewriting and reordering, as well as paragraph reordering and reoutlining. After, it is a good idea to wait a few days to do this, so that you can look at what you have produced with fresh eyes. Then you will be able to see what you have written instead of seeing what you think you wrote, which is the case when you try to edit immediately after producing. You are not generally finished until you cannot edit so that your essay improves. Generally, you can tell if this has happened when you try to rewrite a sentence or a paragraph and you are not sure that the new version is an improvement over the original.